There he is.
And there it is, Brother Hugh. The red light is on. We are back for another episode. So you guys are popping already. Another episode of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Good brothers, we have a lot to dive into today on a very special edition of What Did You Watch? We have to discuss the New Day turning heel, not to mention the fallout of Survivor Series and everything that came from that. But the most important question that must be answered by the guys who are born to answer questions. What does Roman do next? What's next for Roman Reigns? Yes, the OG Bloodline happened to win War Games, but I got a bad feeling there was no swerve, no cliffhanger, no nothing at the end of the pay-per-view. We have to get into all that and more, and trust me, you're going to enjoy all of my notes from this week's episode of Championship Culture. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is December, and the holidays are once again upon us, and as you can see, the realist has got himself ready because I got a lot to say, and as you can see, Brian H is on vacation. So guess what? I'm going to get into all type of shenanigans. He ain't lying. Let's get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
You're supposed to pick it up here.
Because I was about to say, Brother Hugh, it's your turn, but brother,
I'm ready.
Welcome to the Wrestling Round Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Guess what?
Wrestling?
Now, I'm your host, the realist, the real Dwayne Allen, in the building today, and he is your host, Brother Hugh, super producer, has the third A to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, E to the R to the D in the building today, and he is your host, not just any guy, but the belt guy, Brandon the guy, the creator and curator of championship culture in the building tonight, and conspicuous by his absence, Hollywood. 3 times for my man, Brian H. Waters, who is not in the building. He is taking some much deserved time off, but of course he left us in charge to take care of business, and that is what we shall do. Welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Now, good brothers, once again, I don't know if you heard it, brother guy. I know you were zipping in and do that in. Shout out to everybody who's coming in, who's ready for the conversation, because trust me, it's going to be another one of those conversations. But of course, we have quite a bit of business to dig into because there's a lot going on. But guess what? Luckily for you all, the Wrestling Realm is back for another episode, and we are going to, no pun intended, shout out to Brian H, break this all down. That being said, of course, you know we cannot start this show without diving into the announcement that we always make every week when we pretty much try to put you on game with one of the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest programs to hit the waves of the internet wrestling community in championship culture. Good brothers. Every week on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, we often give you an opportunity to take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling now. But not only do we give you a chance to take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling, now we talk about championship culture, which can be found every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm playlist Championship Culture, where Brandon the guy and Brother Hugh, they take a deeper dive into everything championship culture related, whether they're discussing their favorite championships, beautiful designs, legacies, stories, and more. They always tell you that every belt has a story. And guess what? This week is no different. Well into season 3 of Championship Culture, the brothers, they had a great conversation this week, and they had a conversation about one of my all-time favorite championships in the world. So, with that being said, I am going to turn it over to Brother Hugh, so they can give you a glimpse. They're kind of already putting it out there in case you haven't noticed. But what exactly was championship culture this week all about, good brothers?
We talking about what? What we talking about, sir?
I think we talked
the underrated belt.
The other belt that in its short lifespan, almost 20, how many years later? 22? 22 years later, we still talking about this belt. No belt has had a shorter lifespan, but continues to be the topic of conversations than probably this belt. I think that this belt has stood the test of time. If you go back and watch, Championship Culture, the other belt, the European Championship Edition, you will see why this is considered the other belt. Not to discredit the secondary, not to discredit the world title, but whenever you think about wrestling, it's always, the world champion, a secondary champion, then we have the other belts. So be in mind, this is the start of something special, or I would say the continuation of something special, because there are other belts that, we got to tell the story behind them, because it's more than just, the champion of Europe or just, another mid-card title. It's always a story behind why it's the other belt. Brother Hugh, what say you?
You hit it right on the nail, man. Right on the head. First of all, how am I sounding? Because I think I took my mic up by mistake. Am I good?
Yeah, you sound like you.
Okay. All right, cool. Somewhat sexy. Okay, I'm good.
Still a drunk.
What else would you sound like, Brother Hugh?
Man, it was a pleasure. We had a good time last night talking about.
He ain't lying.
I love it.
Talking about that beautiful European Championship.
Let me grab it back. Let me put
it
it
took
back.
me back down memory lane. Had to do some research, and I had quite a good time doing that research. Checking back in, just going throughout the memories of my favorite guy, my favorite European champion of all time, of course, D'Lo Brown. Then, of course,
doing this now.
Think about it. He's on my screen right now. I'm pretty much going to get into that with what you've been watching or whatnot. But yeah, I got D'Lo Brown on the screen right now. We talked about him last night. We talked about all of the great champions that held the European Championship and just basically the prestigiousness of the lineage of that title
in a short time frame from 97 to 2002.
Years?
Yep, 97 to 2002. And we're still talking about it in 20. We about to go to 2025, and we still gonna be talking about this belt because there's something about this championship that we just can't let go. Belts have come and gone, and the wrestling community has said, "Oh, okay, we're good." Mm-hmm. But something about this belt just keeps resurfacing. Something about it. It's just like almost like a Gone Too Soon series. But no, we're gonna talk about the other belt because I think
it's coming back 2026.
You say I say 2025. You say in 2026. But this is the point where we say if you want to see more, go out and check out season 3, the latest episode of Championship Culture, and catch up on all of season 1, season 2. And if you go back and watch season 1, you'll see when we started the other belt story. And this was a in-depth conversation. You gave you a little bit of history, some favorite moments, some things that you can attach to, even some stuff to go down a rabbit hole, like Brother Hugh. And plus, you'll see I got some hot takes in there because, I'm just not a belt guy. I'm just not a belt guy. I'm let me give you this moment. Let me compare it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why this belt has been an inspiration to the wrestling that we see today. But with that being said, go check it out. And then don't forget, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., youtube.com/The Wrestling Room. Play this Championship Culture. To you, realness.
Well, like I said, with that being said, you all know what time it is. Every Tuesday after Championship Culture, if I cannot be there live and in person, if I cannot be there in the comments, I have to do something to get my point across because I too am a belt guy. And yes, I can be quite disruptive. So in case you are new to the program, there's always something that I choose to do to insert myself into each episode. And I have a follow-up on the Wrestling Round Now podcast. And in case you haven't figured out what I'm referring to now, let me just tell you real quick because I've got notes.
Yippee!
When you hear the yippee, you know it's part of time. So, of course, like I said, I've got notes. Every week, the realness does come back with his notes about particular episodes of Championship Culture. See, I got to dive right into this. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, good brothers, man. When I saw the thumbnail and the advertisement for what exactly this week's episode of Championship Culture is going to be about, I was quite enthused, and I said I got a good feeling I'm going to have quite a bit of notes. And just for you, Brian H, when you hear the audio, that's for you. He hates that. Sorry. He said, you already have the sound effect on the video. Why do you need it? Because people need to hear it in real time. So, of course, I've got notes. You guys talked about the European Championship, the other belt. This is one of those segments that you guys, every once in a while, you pull into Championship Culture. And I must say, yes, you brothers did do the history justice. But I say, wait a minute, we got to slap some realness on it. Realness on it. Man,
You got to slap some realness on it? Please cut that off here.
The history of the belt. We talked about its prestige, but we got to talk about what matters the most to the wrestling fan, especially this one. This is one of my favorite championships of all time. We've got to talk about the stories and the moments that are attached to this championship that made us fans in the first place. When you see certain things in life, and in our case, a certain championship, it brings back a feeling of nostalgia, of fun times and memories. Now, that doesn't always mean that the championship lineage is supposed to be prestigious. You guys use that word a lot. But I think as wrestling fans, we overuse and overthink the concept of what a title is supposed to be. Every championship is not created equal, and every championship is meant to do different things in different spots in different time zones. It happened, and guess what? That can change. 1 minute John Cena can have the United States Championship, the next minute Kalisto can have it. Clearly both the same championship, but not seen in the same light, depending on who was holding the championship. Now, I digress. We can't get into that because we have a show to get into tonight. Because we have to have another episode of As the Bloodline Turns, when we got to figure out what the heck is next for Roman Reigns. Where does he go from here? Let me continue.
I was going to say, you're not off the hook because you know I'm going to ask you the question. If you don't address it, I'm going to ask you.
Sure, by all means. I welcome it. Well, yeah. The stories are quite important. Let me get into my notes. You guys, one of the first things you guys talked about, and wrestling fans follow me, you guys talked about the moment that Shawn Michaels first won the European Championship, and there was a question that was posed. Did this moment make this championship prestigious? And of course, everybody agreed, of course it does. If you're world champion of the World Wrestling Federation, has this championship immediately. You got to remember where you were during this time period. This is 1997. Well, we're knocking on 1998's door, and we're on the cusp of what the Attitude Era would eventually evolve into. So many great moments. This is the European Championship is completely tied up in the history of the Generation X, and that is the group that I was birthed from. The NWO and DX were neck and neck, and these moments are connected to the lineage of this particular championship. Not necessarily the reign, not necessarily the feuds, not necessarily the moments, but the history of DX is wrapped up in the European Championship. That's one. Two, Shawn Michaels had it. I appreciate British Bulldog. Now you say, okay, it's obvious that the WWF at the time will create a European Championship because they were running shows in Europe. Clearly very, very popular global brand. And of course it makes sense to put the championship on the British Bulldog. But guess what made more sense? To get the biggest heel, the biggest world champion, the one who did not need this championship, to dethrone him across the waters in his home territory, in his own continent. How much of a heel can you have to be? Now, what's special about this moment when they finally beat? This is when DX wasn't quite DX. They were trying to figure it out. They were calling themselves the Triple Threat. And I say these are moments that live on in history because when you watch these clips, you hear Triple H and Shawn Michaels, we're the Triple Threat, baby. We're the Triple Threat, with the European Championship draped over his shoulder after a night of cheating. Now, we moved on to another conversation, and this is where the term prestige comes into place. What makes this belt prestigious? I don't know if it's necessarily prestigious or it was ever meant to be. If you say, well, how do you figure that, realness? I'm glad you asked. I'm here to educate. The fact that you put it on your biggest European superstar, if you don't count Bret Hart, in the British Bulldog, to have the biggest star, the biggest heel dethrone him, it's like, was that championship really meant to bring some type of prestige? I'm going to explain to you in a moment. what the European Championship was created for and what it was meant to do. But in this case, we got to talk about a moment that lives on in history, that lives on in my head, rent free as a wrestling fan. The Brandon isn't here, so I can ramble for as long as I want.
There it is.
The way the championship Shawn Michaels, everybody, brother, you say, well, I think it lowered the prestige of the championship. And I said, maybe so. But let's talk about what's more important about that situation. Come back to me to 1997. You can smell what Walmart used to smell like. You can hear the flipping of the wrestling magazines. You can hear the music buzzing off an MTV, followed by an episode of The Real World, and eventually Celebrity Deathmatch, and so on and so forth. I can taste 1997. And this moment was right smack dab in the middle of it. You say, well, Realness, what are you talking about? You're rambling. You're not saying anything. I'm trying to give you the backstory. It's because there was something special that had to situate and settle. We talk about championships making superstars, but we never talk about championships making superstars through moments. You say, well, what moment happened? Think about DX. Think about what they stood for. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, they were giving one person major headaches. Do you guys remember who they used to give the biggest headache to in their early years of DX? Come on, guys.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay, Sergeant Slaughter. They every week it was, you guys are a bunch of degenerates and all
You're
this.
a bunch of degenerates.
Shawn Michaels, I watch a lot of wrestling. You see how it happens? Shawn Michaels and Triple H every week would do some type of shenanigans, and they would try to do something every week to throw Sergeant Slaughter off. Is that? Am I lying?
He ain't lying.
Well,
right.
Gimmick
So, what did they do this time? What was special about this particular match? Sergeant Slaughter thought he was going to outsmart DX. He decided, you know what? I got something that's going to put a rift between you two. Because of the prestige of the European Championship, I'm going to create a match. And he created a match between Shawn Michaels and Hunter Hearst Helmsley because he decided, I'm going to turn these guys against each other. This is going to finally break up DX. They're going to fight over this championship. Shawn Michaels has a world title. They tried to cause division. They tried to ruin what was just getting started. Well, DX, being as immature as they were, they decided to stick it to Sergeant Slaughter because Shawn Michaels and Triple H are a lot closer than a lot of people realize on that time. And I think my guy, LA Knight, definitely agrees with me. LA Knight, you agree with me, brother? So the conversation commences and we move forward in this episode of Championship Culture. And there was a few other things that I need to touch on and say, okay, let me bring this to life because I didn't get a chance to express myself because I wasn't on the goddamn show. Should the WWE have brought back the European Championship? A lot of people say yes. A lot of people say all these things. You know what I say? I say absolutely not. Why, Realist? We are losing sight of what made this championship special. And sometimes when something is special, we don't need to rehash it and burn its legacy with, I don't want to say pointless moments, but trying to recreate the next generation based off historical evidence. The European Championship does not have the lineage of the Intercontinental Championship. It doesn't have the lineage of the United States Championship. But guess what? It wasn't meant to. You guys have an entire series called The Other Belt. Those other belts played certain roles that didn't need to have a buttload of prestige. And that was my take on the European Championship. Is it a beauty? Absolutely. Is it one of my favorites? To this day. If I had one right now, just like Brother Guy, I would be wearing it over my shoulder. But do I need to see it back again? No, I do not. Now, let's talk about a few of my favorite moments. We talked about X-Pac and D'Lo Brown. Now you got to fast forward some time ago, right? You got to go back to 1998. I could smell it right now. The summer of 1998, X-Pac and D'Lo Brown, the feud that really, really put this thing on the map. Well, you say, well, what was the point, Reynolds? What was it about this match? There was a natural chemistry between X-Pac and D'Lo Brown. And then we got to talk about where the WWF was at that time and what was going on. The Nation versus the Generation X was starting to heat up. And the two workhorses of the group had a rivalry going on, right? Triple H lost that championship. D'Lo Brown had his moment, but guess what? His homie X-Pac had his back, and he wanted that championship too. I remember the finish like yesterday when D'Lo Brown jumped off that top rope into an X Factor. That's what makes the European Championship special. That's what makes those moments. That moment, every time I hear it and I see it, I go back to 1998. It's got to be June or July in the summer. I smell the grass because I was fresh off of camp. I stayed overnight at a camp for the first time, and I couldn't wait to get back so my brother can tell me the finish of that match. When I got a chance to see it, I'm in awe. So when I see that, That's what the European Championship gave us. Okay, realness, you're saying all that. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what? You're not telling us what the European Championship was really meant to do. What was it? I'm going to give you all a spoiler. If you did not realize or you did not recognize exactly what the European Championship was and what was it meant to do, I'm going to tell you right now. The European Championship was WWF's answer to WCW's television title and the Cruiserweight Championship. If we look at the impact and the moments that we got from WCW with the television championship and the guys that focus on that spot, as well as the guys who focus on the spot of the Cruiserweight champions or chasing after that title, the WWF gave us the European champion for that level of talent to do exactly what they did. And if you don't believe me, just go back and watch the footage. A lot of those guys that came over from WCW, former Cruiserweight champions, former television champions, they all had their time and their shine with the European Championship. Now, of course, the lineage goes up and it goes down, and we have quite a few. We have a Eurocontinental, we have a fusing, we have a merging, and all these things, as you guys called Rob Van Dam the Belt Killer. But if we sit back and we enjoy what this European Championship gave, it gave us what it gave us. And in my mind, that's all that it was meant to give us. I enjoyed the Hurricane having that championship. He treated that championship like it was a world title, the same way he did the Cruiserweight champion, as well as, you know, his failed quest in WCW, especially part of 3 Count. I don't think boy bands and wrestlers go together, but I'm not going to go there because we have to move forward with today's show. And one more thing I have to address. I know I'm long with it, but I didn't get a chance to be on the show. Did this championship ever surpass the Intercontinental Championship? Absolutely not. You know why? Because it wasn't meant to. It was an entry-level championship. It was a workhorse championship. It was a title that had its place in history, that gave us moments, just the way the Hardcore Championship did, just the way the Cruiserweight Championship. And as you can see, the Cruiserweight Championship was attempted to be resurrected on more than one occasion, and it was never the same. It has always been a shell of its former self, and it never really achieved to gain the success that it did for the performance that held the original title. So if we take notes from the Cruiserweight Championship and its confusing lineage, it will never be as good as the original. And I feel the same way if they would have done the same thing about the European Championship or the Hardcore Championship or any other championship that falls into the category of the others. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Real, that's that last part was so muffled. We can't even.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. No, I'm saying the people missed out on the last part because it sounded like you were muffled.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. They have to. I wasn't talking fast. They were listening slow. If you missed it and you want to have a better idea of what I was referring to, go back and watch the show. Once again, youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm playlist championship culture. So there, gentlemen, what do you guys think about my notes? I thought I'd bring a little bit of a different twist to the conversation. Yes, the facts are great. I said, let me go back to how good this thing made me feel as a kid. I told you I can smell the summer every time I see this European Championship. And it's and I'm sure there's many other wrestling fans who probably feel the same way. But yes, Good brothers, championship culture. Talk to me.
You missed a very important. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say
you missed a very important point.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You could.
All right. I was just gonna say I love the input. I mean, I love I love the fact that you incorporated your personal experience of that time with the European Championship. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't remember what I was doing back in that time. My memory is not that good. But it's great to hear how it made you feel and where you were at that point in time. You know, Brian Waters does it all the time. I was back drinking orange soda with a chicken box from Stoke.
Very specific.
You're right. I had my red T-shirt on, you know, back in the day. But I love to hear those stories. And hey, man, I love it. That's all I can really say about it.
That's why I need that. I need that championship belt, the original WWF version, not that green strap, but the original. I was gonna ask you which strap. Not that green one. To commemorate, you know what I mean? To commemorate, you know, those memories. So when I see that championship, you know what type of mood I'm in. I'm back in 97. I'm back in 98. I'm a kid. It's the summertime, and I'm on top of the world. Brother guy.
A few quick things. First, In order to appreciate the belt, you had to go back at that moment in time. And that's why I wanted to make sure people understood this moment that this belt existed. One, right? If you go back, you'll see we kind of went down memory lane, right? But the thing that I thought you would address is that, when we talk about the other belts, the other thing that classifies the other belt is serve a specific purpose. And I compared this belt to the IWGP United States Championship and said they served similar purposes. They knew their purpose. It wasn't the secondary title because it was clearly defined. These belts served a purpose for the brief period of time that they were in. And I'm so shocked that you didn't attack that, because a lot of people, I kind of blew their mind when I made that comparison, because for the short time, it wasn't a world champion. It wasn't the second tier person getting it. It was those moments. Like, I'll still remember, and like all of your points are etched in my memory. But one of the things that always will stand out is when Spike Dudley ran to the ring, grabbed the brass knucks, hit William, hit. It served a purpose. And I was like, I remember those moments. You remember the birth of Latino. It served its purpose to get, not necessarily these, because I want our characters, to get these superstars recognized and to show them in a different light. I won't say a better light, because they were, Eddie Guerrero had a great career before he even got to the WWE. But to see him birth into Latino heat, it gave that next evolution. It gave us a new iteration of people. And that's why part of it being the other belt, it serves a different purpose.
Everything you said is absolutely correct, but I'm going to tell you why I didn't really include it, or really, I didn't make a big fuss over the comparison. You know why? Is because when you talk about the reasons why I believe the championship is special, I don't feel the same way about the United States Championship when it comes to New Japan, because New Japan's United States Championship did not give me the same moments that, as a wrestling fan, keep me attached to that championship. Right? It just didn't. It was a very short lineage. It played its part, yes, but the European Championship is forever etched in history. You look at the Montreal Screwjob, you look at a lot of those things. That championship is tied up in so many other parts of the history of professional wrestling, especially during that era. You don't get that from the United States Championship. It's just another championship at the end of the day. It doesn't give us moments. It doesn't give us those special memories. It doesn't tap into, and especially when you think about New Japan is, I mean, I don't hear too many kids enthused about New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's more of an adult brand.
Right. Yeah, it's a different era. Two different, it's like a specific purpose. And the crazy part is, even the thing about D'Lo, when D'Lo AJ Styles.
Is he did brother got cut off, or that was just his last statement?
I think he just cut off. What was it?
I'm surprised you didn't say anything about that.
No, it was that's you're right. Before I threw it was on the back of the page before I threw on my notes. That was an absolutely terrible comparison that you made between the feud between X-Pac and freaking D'Lo Brown and AJ Styles and D'Lo. Nobody remembers that feud but TNA fans. So you're showing your colors. Like when you think about AJ Styles' legacy in TNA, you're not going to remember his feud with D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown's wearing the Japanese buzzsaw leather global indie pants at this point. And crazy part is
I didn't say you. I said that Brown X-Pac was a great dance partner. Just with AJ, that was great dance partners for him. It's like something about those gentlemen just clicked. Like D'Lo said about X-Pac in the ring, it was just like a perfect, that I'm using your term dance partner. I felt that same energy when I watched AJ Russell. I was like, it works well with these.
The crazy part is though, you might be the only one that feels that energy or even remembers that feud between AJ Styles and D'Lo Brown and dance partners. That was not a good time.
You didn't watch that part. The beginning. I watched the beginnings.
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't a good time for TNA. Like I recognize AJ Styles when he was feuding first with Jeff Jarrett. When that's what we call a deep cut. You know what I mean? I can understand why you feel that way, but I don't know. AJ Styles wasn't AJ Styles yet, and D'Lo Brown was way past being D'Lo Brown. So it's hard. I mean, I definitely get the comparison, but it's just one of those things. Yes, that was the last thing on my notes before I balled it up and tossed it. So yeah, this was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the conversation. So
no, is it me?
yeah, that's you. We can't hear you, brother. You can't hear him, can you?
I can't hear him now.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, you going in and out. So, but yeah,
That's okay. He probably wasn't saying anything anyway.
I think the fact that he brought up D'Lo Brown and X-Pac, I don't know if the algorithm or whatever did not like that comparison. So
it definitely did.
So, like I said, if you want to go back and watch this episode of Channel, we took a little bit long on this, but it's okay. We're going to jump right into the show. But yes, Championship Culture every Tuesday, 8 p.m. YouTube.com/championship culture /restaurant. Playlist Championship Culture every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Be there. And of course, if you miss it, it's okay. Because guess what? I've always got notes, and we always follow up every week to talk about it. But like I said, it's time for us to get into the meat and the potatoes of the show. So usually this is the part where I say, Brian H, ring the bell. But since he's not here, I'm going to do it for him. Brian H, ring the bell. Okay, brother. Realness. Okay. There we have it. Every week on this show, as we get started, there's always a segment that we have on the show known as What Did You Watch? Where the brothers, we go over what did we actually watch this week. We fill our minds with a bunch of wrestling so that by the time we have this conversation and we have the main event of our show, of course, but we still discuss what did you watch? So this is no different. So as a brother guy tries to get himself together, Brother Hugh, I'm going to ask you, what did you watch?
If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more.
Sorry, brother. You know what I mean to cut you off. The ad had to run. So,
it's all good.
What did you watch, brother Hugh?
Well, if we're talking about that comparison with the AJ Styles and D'Lo, Brother Brandon kind of gave me some homework, and I wanted to dive deep into it myself and see if that comparison was actually valid. So I'm actually going through. I've watched one match already between AJ and D'Lo, and this is the other match now where they're going for the NWA title. AJ just won, but
you think?
right, of course. I mean, I wasn't watching TNA at this time, so I mean,
I don't think anybody was, Brother Hugh.
Yeah, I wasn't really invested. D'Lo looks a little slow.
Yeah, because he wasn't D'Lo Brown. He was more like D'Lo Brown. See what I did there?
But right, I see that. But they were still able to give the crowd a decent match. That's the one thing I appreciate about it. Even though D'Lo was a little slow, AJ was running around him like crazy. They still were able to put on some solid matches, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not saying it's a 5-star like your boy Dave Meltzer or whatnot, but I enjoyed it. It's solid. I'll give it a solid like maybe 3.5, 4. It was good. It's cool.
Are you getting the same feelings as X-Pac and D'Lo Brown?
No. I'm not. I remember X-Pac and D'Lo Brown, and I was hyped. I was totally invested. I'm just like over here. I'm like
DX versus the Nation.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. It was more to the story. Like, hey man, it was brand warfare. It was faction warfare, and I loved it. Loved every bit of it. So yeah, I can't agree with you, brother Brandon. I'm sorry.
He is not agreeing with you, brother guy, about same feeling with AJ and D'Lo being as good dance partners as X-Pac and D'Lo Brown. But as you kind of came in, brother guy, we're talking about what did you watch this week? And brother Hugh decided to get into that. So since you jump right at it, you sound like you're pretty solid, ready to go. What did you watch this week, good brother?
Oh, I wonder what did I watch? Ooh, imagine that. It was all about going down that rabbit hole of the European title, and then I kind of jumped to some TNA stuff. But I also, I'm going to regret that I said this.
The suspense is killing me.
I tried to watch AEW.
Oh my goodness!
I couldn't do it. I tried.
That came on? When that come on?
I tried. It's still being recorded on my DVR.
No,
and I just went to an episode.
Brandon, that's not for us.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
Oh my God.
And I was reminded of the conversation. That's what sparked the conversation earlier. I was like, I don't hate AEW. I just hate the fact I can't love them. And I was watching it with that same disdain of, remember when I went into my wrestling comas and I'd be like, I can't do this. Why is this happening? Why is this like this? It doesn't have to be like this. I felt like the first, put it like this, I was just like, I just can't. So I just said, nope, not going to do it. Stop. It was like 30 minutes of just a promo. And I was like, yep, okay. No wrestling. All right. The thing that makes you special, you're not going to do. But okay. So, yep.
Dang it.
But I did have fun going down the European rabbit hole. What's all?
Hold on, brother Brandon. You did it again. I hate when every time y'all do this, y'all talk about AEW. We always get these reports and we get these. Hold on. What are they sending it in? Crap. Y'all did it again. I hope y'all happy.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I'm serious. I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit.
Now back to our show.
You see what you did, brother Brandon? Every time you bring up AEW, we always get these calls from these networks and they send these messages from Tony Khan and his crazy guys about you speaking about AEW. That's
but they
terrible.
got pretty belts. They have pretty belts.
And they have pretty okay action figures too. Thank you, AEW. I needed that, Jay White. But you were saying European Championship.
Yeah, I just went down that rabbit hole and enjoyed some of those, going down those memories, like especially that WrestleMania 2000 match, and that's all I'm gonna say about that one.
Of course.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
the Jericho that I liked up until after he lost the AEW title. That's the point when I stopped being a Jericho fan. That was during the time I was a Jerichoholic, so I appreciated that match.
Yeah, you've sobered up on Jerichoholicism quite well. You're doing well.
I like that. I like what you did there.
How long have you been sober from being a Jerichoholic?
Since he lost the AEW title.
Okay, wow, you're doing pretty good. You're starting off pretty okay. You're a few years in. I'm proud of you.
It's been a slow process. Sometimes I feel like I get to, sometimes it'll be glimmer of me being a Jerichoholic. I'm like, nope, that's exactly why I stopped.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He creates another something because, and I'll just say this, and I want to hijack the show, but the reason I was Jericho for so long, he kept finding ways to keep himself relevant and to keep me interested in his character. Kind of like similar to before this year, Undertaker, how he kept me entertained with what he was doing, even when he would regress back to Undertaker. Jericho kind of did that even when he was, you just made the list. It was always something different that made you say, this is another layer of Jericho. And then it's like, he's done it, I feel like, out of desperation now to keep himself relevant. It doesn't feel natural. It feels like it's more forced. So,
hey, look, man, you ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
See, told you. So, you know what? That happens. But, I'm glad that you had an opportunity to go back and watch something that you actually enjoyed.
I also watched Brock Lesnar versus Shinsuke Nakamura for a reason.
Ooh. Oh, really? How'd you feel about that? That's another deep cut. When Brock Lesnar was under contract, he still did whatever the heck he wanted to do, like he usually does.
Absolutely.
Red tights Brock Lesnar. It was a little weird. It was a little weird. Yeah, it was a little weird. And even when you remember what was the match he had the blue tights on? Because the blue trunks. I know you're a gear guy. Remember when it was early in WWE, wasn't it? He had on the blue. Or was that New Japan? He was wearing blue for that one. New Japan. Because I know he had colors at one point that he was.
Well, he was wearing blue and I believe OVW when it was the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Him and Shelton Benjamin were tag team. He had blue tights. Okay. He worked a couple of dark matches wearing those blue tights. So.
Yeah, because anytime he wore anything besides the black, it's a little different.
Yeah.
He didn't have a neck back then. It was definitely weird. So
that's Brock Lesnar doing Brock Lesnar things. But on this very special occasion for What Did You Watch? We usually don't always cover what happens on weekly TV, but something very different happened. We were here to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the New Day, but instead we ended up getting something else. Good brothers, let's get into this. So as we wrap up of What Did You Watch this week, I watched something that was quite disgraceful. Interesting, but disgraceful. And it's time for us to have a conversation about it. It's because I didn't see this coming, and I want to see how you guys felt about the New Day celebrating 10 years of New Dayism. And we assumed that they were going to break up. It's been some riffraff going between Kofi and going between Woods. And we assume, they're going to call it quits. They came out, they're smiling. They appreciate the times that they had, but then they were going to say, you know what? It's time for us to move on. Do bigger and better things. Big E comes out. He makes a plea to the New Day. Don't give this up, brothers. I'm going to be you guys' manager. This is what I want to do now. I'm going to be locked in with you guys until I get cleared, so on and so forth. And we got a swerve. Woods and Kofi went from fighting each other to all of a sudden turning their attention towards Big E. And Big E began to talk about, how he was not able to be cleared, but the New Day seemed to be pretty peeved. I was surprised. I expect Woods to be pretty pissed off, but Kofi seemed like he was a little perturbed, and I was trying to figure out what the world is going on. But it turns out that the New Day is ready to evolve, and they're ready to move away from what they've done the last 10 years, and maybe they felt like it was time to shed some old skin. And they blame Big E for their problems. They blame him for not being involved. They blame him for not trying to be as engaged with the group as much as possible, despite his neck injury. Did anybody see this coming? We expected Woods to turn heel. I think the predictable thing was Woods turn heel. Kofi, you guys battle it out, and that was going to be it. But instead, we'll probably get a new version of the New Day without Big E. They sent him back to his desk job and his new girlfriend, his new house, and here we are. Good brothers. Who saw this coming? Who saw Woods and Kofi turning on Big E in this whole situation? Because I sure as heck didn't.
It's crazy. It's crazy because I think we've been conditioned that the New Day will always be the New Day. Fun,
Mm-hmm.
loving, happy-go-lucky. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I was trying to hear movies talking about this. I don't think Kofi's ever been a heel. He was just there, and then he morphed into Kofi Kingston. It was never like a heel thing because New Day started as like a heel, but organically became a face. So we've been conditioned that these are always going to be the good guys. It's always going to be, no matter how stale or, stagnant the characters got, it's always going to be there. And to see that grit in Kofi, well, first go back to last week, seeing them take shots at each other, and it was like, there's that realness that, the Triple H does. And then to see this, it was like, when he said, now, I was like, oh, this is where we're going. When he said that, I was like, because we all were thinking it, you can be on the commentary, why didn't you just come by their side? Why didn't you just come at least say, oh, whatever's in there, don't you dare be so, at least do that part. So we always roped into that part. So I became vested because I was like, he has a point. He's not wrong. One of the things that they always say in comic books, you live long enough to become the villain. And I feel like Big E kind of forced him into this, how the story is played. So I'm like, oh, this got real dark real fast. So I was surprised that we went that route, but because we've been conditioned for so long to think this is how the New Day is always going to be. Like, we were probably expecting them to hug and throw pancakes out and, drop bootios from the ceiling or something.
That's exactly it.
I would expect bootios from the ceiling, of course. Yes.
Yeah. So, that's all I was saying. It was dark, and I didn't know it was going to get that dark that quick. But when it comes to Triple H, what it does, you got to be like, I kind of see their point. Both sides is like, they're not wrong, but did we need this for the New Day? Now I'm more invested to say, okay, what's going to happen next Monday? Again, I'm going to be tuning in.
Brother Hugh, was this necessary? No, let me tell you why I think it was necessary. I said, okay, this has got to be a situation where they knew they couldn't turn heel without releasing E, right? Because there's no way for E to turn heel. He has a desk job now, right?
Right.
He has to stay positive. And Woods said something that kind of struck a chord with me. Or I don't know if it was Woods or Kofi, but they said, we couldn't evolve because of you. Woods had enough. He wanted to do more. And it seems like Kofi got to the point where they wanted to do more. Just losing for 3 years. It's something about being a champion. When you're a winner, you don't settle for losing, Brother Hugh.
Absolutely.
You feel me? They don't go for that. And finally, losing has pushed these guys to the edge. And they said, we got to get rid of the big fella. Because first of all, we tired of hearing about him anyway. He chose all that other stuff over us regardless. Because if he would have been with us, maybe we could have pushed forward. But now you want to come back? Like when we struggling and we down bad, we didn't embarrass ourselves when you chose all these other things over the group. Nah, we're going to do stuff our way. Now, the problem is it looks like this is the same thing they're doing with the Street Profits, but I want to hear what Brother Hugh has to say about it. Do you think this was necessary, Brother Hugh?
I loved it, actually. At first I was kind of,
well, you like the spicy stuff anyway. Of course you're going to say you loved it. You like watching buildings burn and wrestling.
Yeah, let it go. Here's some
I love, I
gasoline
love,
on.
I
Oh
love
yeah,
plot
give me
twists,
a hot
man.
dog. I'm a grilling me a hot dog and some marshmallows while it's on fire.
I, hey man, I love that the unexpected. Like
Mhm.
throughout this whole New Day situation with Kofi and Xavier, I was saying that Kofi was going to be the one to turn heel the whole
Ooh.
time, as opposed to Xavier. He was going to get tired of Xavier, basically going back and forth with him. But I love the twist. At first, I was going through the motions. I'm not gonna lie. As everything was going down, I was like, yes, the New Day's back. This, that, whatever, whatever. Big E
Mhm.
said he's gonna come back as a manager. I'm with it. Whatever, whatever. Then Kofi came back, pushed him away, said, nah, you coming back now? Okay. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that I was gonna like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know it. I didn't know it. Because like we said, we never seen Kofi as a heel. Xavier, he gives you heelish vibes now and then. So
Sure.
I kind of
He's been
expected that.
teetering.
Exactly. So for them to kick him out and then basically stick together and they're gonna go off and do whatever, I'm invested. I'm invested. It seemed like for the longest time, ever since Big E's been out, they've hit the back burner. It's been all
Mm.
about Big E and if he's coming back and how's his health and this and that, whatever, whatever. And to be honest, I mean, yeah, he had a neck injury, but he definitely could have showed up at ringside for them because I mean they've been struggling for a while, right? They've been losing
Yeah.
for a while. They haven't been relevant for a minute.
You know
3
what's crazy about
years.
all this? I think you turned heel too, brother Hugh. It's bad enough Brian H. Turning heel. Brian H. was a very positive guy, and then he stole somebody's show and became.
That is true. That is
Now
true.
I think you,
That is
brother
true.
Hugh, I think you turned heel too with these guys. So you bring up a valid point, and I'm interested. Is you're saying you're here for the evolution, right? For 10 years,
Mhm.
we've seen it be one way. And
Mhm.
yes, it's not the same with Big E. And we understand his limitations to things. And he said, when I get cleared, and Xavier Woods pretty much jumped. He said, you never tell the truth, E. You're never going to be cleared. You don't know when you're going to be cleared. It's most likely never. I don't think Big E has a run anytime soon. He might be like a late Stone Cold guy,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? His neck, like Edge. Edge was done. His neck and pitch nerves and Kurt Angle. But even Daniel Bryan, give these guys 5 and 6 years to naturally heal, and you know what I mean. Here we are. But you're here for this new heel, New Day. So are you expecting to see like a do we call it the New Day? Is it the same thing? Is it a heel version? Do we say it's a New Day? Yes, it is. Keep it, and just now it's a bad guy thing, or do we see something completely different? Is it just Woods and Kofi? It's just Kofi and Xavier. You know what I mean? What do we continue in this? Because it's going to get dark. We all know that. You go from unicorns, pancakes, and bootios, right? We got to assume this is probably going to go left field somewhere down the line. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So are you for that version of it, or are you just okay with Woods and Kofi being a tag team, or do you feel like, hey, we gotta make everybody regret buying these New Day t-shirts and get them to buy these heel dudes? Because we saw it with the Bloodline, we saw it with the Judgment Day. So it's not like heel factions can't be popular, but it's been a decade of positivity, and now we have this. What are you expecting to see? You don't want to say you're looking forward to this.
I'm eager to see how creative Xavier and Kofi can get with this. To be honest,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
they
Talk
can
about it.
actually keep the New Day gimmick or name.
Sure.
And just because technically it is a New Day for them, right? They're turning
Remember,
over
they
new
were
leaf,
heels
right?
at one point. Let's not forget this.
Exactly.
Remember,
That's how they started.
because they came out and they got booed, and then they started doing heel stuff. They started cheating, winning, acting real arrogant, like they were innocent. So it's not like New Day have not been heels before.
Right. So that's what I'm eager to see. I'm eager to see if they can actually get it over, because before they couldn't really get it over, right? That's why they turned positive, right? That's why they turned to faces, right?
Bingo. Yep.
Now,
And then it's the same reason why they turned to heels, because they couldn't get the face part over with.
absolutely. So in this WWE, I think they can do it, especially with Xavier Woods. He's a very creative individual. Not saying that Kofi isn't, but with those two together, they can make some magic happen. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just eager to see what's next.
Oh boy, what about you, brother guy? Are you here for the heel New Day tag team vibe going on? What we got going on?
Yes, I'm here for it because, like I said, when he said now, I felt like it's a connection now. Like he's not lying. Like I mean, no, we've seen other people, and even when he name dropped, was like they came back. We were waiting for you, and because they were saying all the stuff that we all were thinking, and I think that's why I'm like, okay, so now it's time for you to put up or shut up, because if you don't do something different now that you set this stage, it would have been all for nothing.
Mhm.
Like and I'm glad you made that Street Profit comparison because Bobby Lashley, come on, y'all about to be winners. Y'all about to be winners. Change the music, try to have them dress different. He was still goofy and cheesy. And then what happened? They reverted right back. So that was all for nothing. So with this, they can already tell the story with their gear. They can start having that different mentality shift in just the look alone. You know, of course, Kofi don't have to dye his hair no more. Xavier might come back with, I hate to say it, slick back cornrows or something, but their gear can be dark and the music has to change. The name doesn't. They can
What do you
still
have
call that
against
stuff
slick back cornrows? I heard the stadium voice when I heard
crazy.
slick back
Right.
cornrows. I heard it. Like, did you hear it?
Yeah, it was on purpose because I feel like, you know how when the women go heel, they dye their hair and then they wear all black, like, oh, now they're heel. I feel like for the
Like
black
Sasha.
wrestlers, when they have hair, it's like the cornrows are it's got to be slick back. The good guys have, what Kofi have, dreads. Booker T, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's always like the heel notion.
I have a quick question for you. How would you have felt if Shelton Benjamin was a heel with a bald head one day and then came back with a full cornrow wig the next day after he turned heel?
Remember, he dyed his hair gold. Talking about he was the gold standard.
Yeah, that was dumb. I like
so, but you get what I'm saying? Like, they always feel like they got to do something drastic. But with them, I'm just saying, like, remember, which color was wearing the dark ring gear? He was wearing the black and gray. I forgot what the character was, and was clearly saying, you know, it's
Dark
something.
Yeah, definitely Dark Goku from Dragon Ball Super. Lynn was trying to he wanted to come on the show today. We couldn't get it figured out, but I mean, you know, he's an anime guy. He does an anime show, and he had a crazy theory from what I heard. Brian H didn't really give me the details because he was on the move, but he said, man, Lynn's got a crazy theory about what the New Day has been saying, especially with their gear based off last week. And I was like, oh boy, because a lot of people probably wouldn't make that connection because the Goku Dark is a character.
The one before that, not even that is when, remember, I sent you all the graphics saying this is what their gear was. It was the one before that when Kofi was wearing green and Xavier had on black. I forget, was that Mortal Kombat? Was that supposed to have been Smoke and Reptile? Is that what that was?
Sure.
I can't remember. It was inspired
It
by
looked like
Mortal
a Power
Kombat.
Ranger gear, but I could be wrong. But
that's what I
thought.
I thought it was a Power Ranger. Yeah.
No, it was Woods had the black one because they wore it for a couple of weeks. His was black and Kofi's was green, and that's when we all was saying, "Oh, Woods is going to turn on Kofi." But I think that if they do something subtle with their gear, keep the name, of course, change the music. Triple H don't meddle the music up. Just let them come down with something different. You know, it can be creative player number 17. It's going to get us vested because now they have to get on a winning streak. They got to do something different. Because if they still come out there and do the same thing and Kofi Kingston do a boom drop, you'll be like, this is still the old New Day. They can have a name. It's just got to be an evolution of the New Day.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
I'm with what you said, Brandon. In that conversation we had, put the straps on them. Let them dominate the tag team division for a while.
Yeah, I think it's coming because they need to be asserted.
Yeah.
But they could, and when I told he was, they need to go in there, move, finisher, win. Like, oh my God, the New Day they're doing something serious. It don't have to be a longer match. It can be a boom. I'm not a boom drop. And then what is that finisher move? It's not the Midnight Express. What is that?
I forgot what the name. I didn't look it up.
Hit the finisher, win. Yeah. Do that, and it's like, oh, the New Day are serious. And then let them cut the promo coming through the curtain like they do now with the camera angles and stuff like that, and just show them getting serious. And then take the strap off of whether it be the Judgment Day or somebody, triple threat, whatever you want to do. Put it on them and shoot a rocket ship on and say, see, we shed our weight. Look what we've done.
No, I think that's probably the direction that we're going in, especially now that we know what the heck is going on. When it comes to the New Day. So yeah, it's to be continued. Once again, shout out to the New Day for 10 years of doing what they're doing. But as we continue in this extended segment of What Did You Watch before we take another break, we have got to talk about the fallout of Survivor Series.
War games! Of War games! War games! War games!
Survivor Series War Games. Good brothers. We just are like, it's mind-boggling how fast we're moving and how the road to WrestleMania seemingly has started a lot faster than intended. So we are here, and War Games has come and gone. We're the main events tonight show is another episode of As the Bloodline Turns, where we talk about what's next for Roman Reigns and the OG Bloodline. It looks like everyone has gone back to their prospective spaces on their prospective brands. Jay just got jumped by somebody. I'm assuming it was Drew McIntyre, but we're going to dig into that another day because we have to talk about what is next for Roman Reigns. I'm not so convinced that the new bloodline is just as done with the old bloodline. I still believe that Solo Sikoa still is in possession of the Hula Fala. And what does this really mean? But before we get into that, let's talk about the overall show real quickly because we got to jump into the main event of tonight's show. We got to talk about CM Punk. We got to talk about Roman Reigns. We got to talk about where do we go from here. But gentlemen, how did you guys enjoy the show overall with Survivor Series War Games being in Vancouver, Canada?
I enjoyed it. It was a good show overall.
Okay.
I'm upset that Ludwig didn't win, but I get it.
Why did I know you were going to be upset about that? I was sitting there because first of all, the children were asking about their Uncle Hugh, and I was like, dang, I wonder if he's watching this match because he's not going to be happy with this. But I knew it was going to be you that had a problem with Ludwig Kaiser not winning. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother, but I just
you good.
I knew it was going to be you.
Did you see the match that he put on though?
See,
he was amazing in the match, bro.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you rip.
They gotta put him over sometime. Like I really thought they was gonna pull the trigger this time for Ludwig because of the storyline that they had with Gunther and him losing his confidence. It seemed like he was losing his confidence. And like I said before on a previous episode of on a predictions episode, Gunther, if he loses the title to Damian Priest, he can get it right back. But if he loses and Ludwig wins, that gives him a little something over Gunther. And remember, they had their little beef, like not really beef, but they had their little squabbles or whatnot for the last couple of weeks. Gunther was like, "Look, go off on your own, do your thing," and then Ludwig was kind of like, "No, I want to still be there, right?" So he kind of really had to push him away. First of all, I just thought about this. I need them two back on this.
Look at him get upset.
I need to see them. I need those two on the same page because I need that goddamn coat flip.
Oh my goodness!
I haven't seen it in like what is it about almost 6 months now.
I think it's gone, brother. I think you should let it go.
I need the coat flip back.
Okay, needs the coat flip back.
So Gunther, bring it back. I need it. All right, but.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let's find out if LA Knight agrees with Brother Hugh about this. LA Knight, do you agree that Gunther and Ludwig kind of need to bring the coat flick back? There it is, Brother Hugh. At least LA Knight agrees with you. Go ahead, you can continue, sir.
Well, I'm gonna get off of Ludwig for a minute, but I was very excited about Shinsuke winning the U.S. title. I'm glad he did. I love his new character. The music, I get it. Is dark. I get it. It fits his character. But creatively, I just thought they could have done better. But
well, in all fairness, Brother Hugh, I'll say this. I don't think they have new. They just fired the music people, so I don't know if they got anybody new just yet, or if Jim Johnson's going to agree to come out of retirement, or they can get the CFOs out of their record deal. So I'm just trying to be positive before you keep going. I don't know.
Look, come on, man. All that money they taking from us, they can do.
That's
something.
True.
Come on now. But I'm loving the whole Shinsuke gimmick. He was dark before, but now he's beyond dark. Like he's like
he's got meaning
samurai.
to it. Yeah, this is getting cultural.
Yes, and that's what I love about it. That's why I say, look, they could have done a little bit better with the music portion of it.
Sure.
But I'm loving it. LA Knight, it was time for him to get rid of the title. Like, I'm not gonna lie, his run, it was okay. He had like 8 title defenses. But for me, it was kind of like it was getting kind of dry.
Now tell the people why, Brother Hugh. It's only one reason. Why?
I just wasn't invested. I mean, I don't know.
What didn't he have, Brother Hugh? We always talk about it. What's the one thing that makes a championship a championship? What makes a title run a title run?
Dance partners.
Dance partners. I told you, it's one of the things you just don't know that you know. Dance partners. There was not a notable feud that stamped his championship run. Damian Priest will always be connected to Gunther. You know what I mean? Jey Uso will always be connected to Braun Breaker. Rhea Ripley will always be connected to Liv Morgan. You got to have at least one. Drew McIntyre
Right.
will always be connected to CM Punk, even though there was no championship involved. But
Right.
I digress.
I mean, this could possibly be that feud if he can go back and forth with Shinsuke, right?
That was one of the things that I thought about them. I said, but that's the problem. He has not had any main event talent caliber challenges for this United States Championship, right? He hasn't had a real rival, someone that is an actual threat. He's been running his mouth and having his way. And then now, Shinsuke comes back. And, when Shinsuke does things, he makes his intentions very clear in Japanese. See what I did there? And this new brooding, we don't know what this version of Shinsuke Nakamura is or where it came from or why he is the way that he is. All we know that he's come back, he's making an impact. And all I know is that LA Knight's going to be out for blood. He hit his head in that match and he never recovered. He hit his head in the back of that metal in between that match in Shazar. Right. He just looked like, I'm out of it. And I was like, oh, see, the arrogant champion didn't count his ducks. And he's in the space that he's in now. He's a former United States champion, but only time will tell what happens with Shinsuke Nakamura. What else did you enjoy about the show, brother?
Well, I said it before. I love the fact that Michael Cole in commentary, he was telling these stories. As soon as LA Knight came out, he accidentally dropped a belt when he was doing his entrance.
That was hilarious.
Michael Cole was like, look, he shook up, this, that, whatever. Shinsuke is in his head. And I'm like, oh man, we about to get something special. Right. And the whole match, you listen to it, the whole match, he was just throwing those little curveballs out there, throwing them out there. And I'm like, oh man, Shinsuke about to do it. Shinsuke is about to do it. But it made me mad when Shinsuke won because then I found out the next match was the IC title match. So I was like, we're not gonna get 2 title changes because I wanted my guy Ludwig to win.
Sorry, brother. This is no lose situation. It's like, come on. The highs and the lows. They brought you up just to bring you back down.
But it's all good. It's all good. I want to see what's next for all of the stories that have been told. This bloodline thing, I have no idea what's going on with this. You ain't ducking today, brother. We gonna have that conversation because we got to figure out where do we go next because I have no freaking idea. But hopefully by the time we're done, not only myself but those who are listening can have a better idea of where the heck this goes next. So we will definitely get into this whole bloodline civil war thing with Survivor Series. But and real quick, I said it last night when Finn came out. I think I want to see Finn as champion.
Bro, Finn is my dog. Finn is making his case. Like he's going to implode next. They're going to find out that he's been using the Judgment Day the entire time because everybody's getting suspicious of him. Liv Morgan's now why don't you go follow Finn? Make sure he's good. Like they get suspicious. The Judgment Day is done because Finn Balor's going to flip his wig. He's about to be on some Kevin Owens type stuff. He's going to lose his nugget. But are we going to skip? We're going to skip the Karrion Kross effect. You didn't mention that when you talked about Shinsuke. When somebody put up a graphic of everybody he's messed with mentally has gone really evil, including the New Day. Like, come on now. The New Day, Miz, Shinsuke, Drew McIntyre. I forgot who else they had on that list. Everybody he's had a feud with, they don't leave him the same. So
is this a New Age Devil's Advocate gimmick?
See? Yeah, he just I don't know.
Sean O'Hare. Yeah.
He just leaves. Wow. Deep cuts. There you go. Yep. Deep cuts. Yep. See, that's how I know you've been watching stuff this week. But yeah, brother Brandon, how did you enjoy Survivor Series this year, sir? Overall.
Oh, you're gonna hate. I'm gonna say this. I did not enjoy it. I didn't.
I'm not surprised because we were watching the show at the crib and it was like, oh, this is a little bit flat. Like it and on the post show, brother guy, Brian H kind of made it clear that I kind of followed up like, yeah, the last match kind of saved the show. But go ahead. But
you said it best when you said it seemed like every match was holding back because they didn't want to outshine the main event. And I was still disappointed in the main event. And I put it in the comments. I feel like if the women's war game match would have been a traditional Survivor Series match, it probably would have went over better. I said it on the pre-show. That was going to be the match that was going to give us the most unexpected. This was going to be not necessarily show stealer, but the match that you don't think is going to be the most. It was going to give us the most. And it actually gave me the most. What is happening here? You have all of this star power in this match, and his girlfriend looked bad. And I felt bad for him.
Hey, first of all,
I felt bad for him.
Hey, look.
I felt bad for him.
But don't talk about my girl.
No, I'm going to because this is what we're going to do. Because she had done so well, and I think it's because, and this is what I really broke it down to, she has been playing second fiddle to Liv.
Yeah.
So it's probably got into her headspace that, she's been coming out first. They keep saying Liv Morgan this. They didn't even give her, and she's the whole champion on SmackDown. So, of course, she was wrestling like, why am I even here? Almost to the point. But she was giving us all this good stuff. So, if it had been a traditional 5-on-5, probably would have came off better. Really didn't need the cage for this, for the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan show with 4 other supporting characters.
Yeah,
Let's call it. That's what it was.
Okay.
I was happy with Shinsuke because anything with Shinsuke, I'm going to be excited for. And I'm more curious because from Friday to Saturday, we saw a different entrance, and we saw we keep seeing another layer to Shinsuke. Remember on Friday, he just stood there, spit the mist, and then just walked off. I was like, oh, that was different. And for him to win in the way he did, I was like, yep, that's how you do it. You're right. I'm going to agree with you. I wish Ludwig would have got it. I wanted Ludwig so bad because I said that's the way you get it on Sheamus at Mania or something. But I was like, this was his moment, because if he would have got it, then either him and Gunther would have had that great moment, or it would have been, hey, I won the title and you lost. And I was behind Damian because, Triple H is starting to deprogram us that if I'm standing tall on the Go Home show, I'm taking the pin. If I'm getting beat down on the Go Home show, I'm winning. So with Shinsuke, clearly showed us different. But I thought, because it was so much with Damian Priest, I was like, all right, he might actually get it back this time. Even though I know his bigger plans for, all this stuff, and that's what you call a guy. The only way to do this was to introduce Finn back into it. But if we're going to get Finn with the world title, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with the Judgment Day still being intertwined with Damian Priest, because I thought he had moved on from that. I thought we were past that part, that we were getting this standout. I won't call him a rock star, but this standout individual that, Judgment Day's behind me. Let me go back and get focused. But now we have Finn. So if that leads to something down the line, okay, great. And we'll get to the main event. I'm not going to give my thoughts on that until we talk about what's next for the Bloodline. But overall, this is not one of those pay-per-views I will go back and watch when Triple H has been giving us such great pay-per-views. And I thought this is going to be the road to WrestleMania. I feel like the main event is giving us the road to WrestleMania and nothing else.
You're right. That women's match was kind of just seemed like it was just put together.
And it's because it was so much star power, and we know what all of these women in this match could have done. We've seen them give us, and I hate that 5-star rating, but we know what these women can do. And that's why I said, oh, this is going to be the match. Remember, I was like, I'm most excited for this one to see what they're going to do. And it was like, one of the most exciting things was Rhea Ripley's mask. And that's sad. That I was like, okay, the trash can spot, it was so hyped up. And then Tiffany on the other side, like, oh, look at me. I'm like, you got a Candice LeRae right there. She could have went to the other corner.
First of all, both of them stood up there for like 20 minutes before they jumped off. And they still didn't jump off at the same time. But, it's cool. I get it. But
yeah, and I don't want to say it's a waste because, I'm not a wrestler, but I'm just saying I'm not going to go back and rewatch this.
No doubt. And, it seemed very intentional. We don't know what that is about.
exactly.
But like I said, if you all did or didn't like Survivor Series, make a comment. Let us know what you thought about the show. Now, I say that gingerly because I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But like I said, we don't have time to dive into the entire show. But if you do want to dive into the entire show, myself and Brian H at Constant Brian H Studios, we did a full-blown live reactions post show after Survivor Series where we gave our direct thoughts about everything that happened in Survivor Series and the reasons why they happened. This was a very different feeling PLE, like as Brother Guy alluded to. So it's something I'm like, I'm not sure why it looked this way, but I honestly do believe that it was very intentional. And like I said, if you didn't get a chance to watch the post show and you want to get a glimpse of it, here's a quick snippet right here.
Welcome to the wrestling realm. I am your host, Brian H. Waters, and I am joined by the remarkable, the impeccable, the real Dwayne Allen. What's up, bro?
That is the intro that got me so much heat because of Brian H. and a lot of his people didn't like me after that. So I probably listen. Even it's like riding a bike after 13 years. This never gets old.
The match that saved the night, the OG Bloodline victorious over the Bloodline 2.0, which I have to admit, I was kind of shocked.
Man, the match overall to me saved the pay-per-view.
Okay.
Saved the night.
Definitely. Now say this, man. Paul Heyman, just a freaking genius, a
I feel
performer.
like at some point we're going to have to throw the whole segment away because we're going to keep doing this all the way until WrestleMania and probably beyond. So
Do we see this match run again at WrestleMania?
that I don't know.
So if you want to go back and watch the full post show, it is available right now on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. And you can watch that post show. And you can see if we got it right and see and go back and listen to some of the theories that we came up with as to why this particular PLE looked the way that it did. Now we're going to take a
Hold on,
break.
sir, hold on, real quick. Before you go on, we gotta address two things. First off, can you go back to that picture that you had up before you played that clip? Because I'm not gonna let this show go without addressing this. Go back to that picture.
Oh, let me just find it real quick. This one?
Oh yeah. Why does your jersey look like a Morgan State jersey and not a Wrestling Room? It looks very orange and blue. I'm gonna need you to turn the color back the way it should be so we can see that it was red. I understand you're a Morgan Bear.
No, I didn't have that was I think that was just the editing software that Brian has used to put it together. I don't think that was he might have used too much contrast or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah,
He loves the contrast. Yeah.
yeah, he's a contrasty guy. It's not orange. It is very red, but like I said, as you saw in the clip, it is red. But
I just wanted to make sure that people knew that it was Wrestle Room red and not Morgan orange.
No, of course. If you watch the video, you can clearly see that it's nice and bright red. You know, bright blood moon red. Like
Yes.
Yes.
But
and the last thing, do you think, and realize before you move on, do you think that this was played safe to keep people safe for Mania?
oh yeah, absolutely. Because they're holding back information on purpose. They did this on purpose. They're like, no, we're gonna purposely give them only this. And we talked about it on the post show. It's like this was for a reason. Triple H is like, oh, this is not the best they could have put out. But I told everybody, like, there's certain things that happened on that show, and there's certain things that didn't happen on that show. And I don't think it was like by happenstance. I think it was literally on purpose. They didn't want you to have a surprise moment like last year. They wanted the focus to go on one thing and one thing only. It looked like they held everybody back. Like, look, this is a group effort. We're a team. Let's not go out here and everybody try to steal the show. We need to keep it paced the correct way for a reason. We want everybody to go home only talking about one thing. And it seems like that's what it was. There's no disrespect to anybody in the roster or any of the performances, but I'm saying that's what it intentionally looked like. We've seen Triple H put on certain type of shows, and it looked like he wasn't trying to throw the sink at us. That's the AEW thing to do. Just give the fans what they want. And then after a while, it's hard to bounce back from it because it doesn't go anywhere, or you have to now force it to make sense. There was something very intentional about the way this Survivor Series was booked and the feel of it. And like I said, if anybody wants to figure out what that's really, really about, go back and watch the post show and then leave your comments. We'll check the comments and we'll address them at a later date. But
can I say one thing?
Sure,
I screamed like a little girl. I screamed like a little girl when I saw that thumbnail because I was like, well, first of all, I was supposed to be there, but I'm glad
you
I
definitely
wasn't
was supposed to be there. Brian said you didn't answer the phone that day.
No, well, I talked to Brian H. and he said he called me, and I checked my call log. It was nothing there. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, because he said I talked to him earlier. He said the kids was asking about it. He was like, so I was like, I went there with the intention of seeing you there, brother Hugh. But he was like, I said, what's his brother? He's like, I couldn't get in touch with him. He said, I called me to answer the phone. So, but it's okay.
But I'm glad I wasn't there because this gave me the flashbacks of the wrestling realms from the vault in the basement.
Oh my goodness,
the throwback episode, and I was just like, I was so hyped, man. When I heard it, I saw that video, and I was just like, man, y'all need to go back and check that out.
You should have heard Jonathan in there acting a fool. This boy is 15 years old and he thinks he's a grown old man. So y'all remember, I remember the day. I remember this realm. So y'all remember to see the podcast is new. I said, Jonathan, you're 15, son.
That's
like, exactly, you're not that old. No, see, I was the original. Mind you, he's talking to little Adam and freaking Ariana. They 9 and 10. Talking about, see, y'all don't know enough about this realm. See, y'all know about the new stuff. I'm like, Jonathan, you ain't that old, son. You're 15. Like you act like an old geezer. They don't need to know. See, I was there sneaking up. See, y'all don't notice he was confessing his sins. You see, y'all don't notice I was by the stage listening to when y'all was recording the shows. I remember those days. I was like, we just thought there was city rats outside. We didn't know that was you creeping behind the stairs. But you know, it was a good time.
Is something else. He is something else.
Jonathan is oh my goodness. I was laughing the entire time. He had me in stitches laughing. I said, bro, when did you turn funny? But we had a good time watching the show. I think that's probably what helped it. We were all sitting there like this watching the show, like wait, that's it? What's going on? And then we, like I
Yeah.
said, it made for good conversation. We got some behind the scenes footage that will be seen at a later date, but
Hey.
we're definitely going to get into the main event of this show. The reason that we all showed up, it's the whole point of why we're having this conversation in the first place. It's this bloodline storyline. So we're going to take a quick break, and after these messages, we're going to come back and we're going to dive right into the main event of Survivor Series and the $1 million question that only the realm can answer in a moment like this: is where does Roman Reigns go from here? Right after this.
You can download all of our audio content anytime on Spotify. In order to really understand where the obsession began, let me take you back to a time when wrestling was hot. I mean, really hot.
Everyone's watching this. He got it! He hooked him, man! He hooked him!
All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the main event of tonight's show. We are here to discuss the outcome of Survivor Series main event and what's next for Roman Reigns. But of course, each week we have been breaking down this story. We have been diving into the drama that is the Bloodline storyline in all of professional wrestling. We have the OG Bloodline versus the 2.0 Bloodline. We have come to conclusions. We have found new answers. And now we're moving on to the next chapter. So let's not waste any time. We're going to wrap up this show with our favorite soap opera, As the Bloodline Turns. So, turns out Roman Reigns and the OG Bloodline defeated Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline 2.0 in a Survivor Series War Games match. War Games! I'm not going to sit there and play the clip. Yes, I am.
War Games! Of War Games! War Games! War Games!
So, I don't know if anybody expected this outcome, but I was thoroughly surprised and happy. Now, we came into this situation and we had to answer a few questions before we got to this point. For those who have missed the last couple of weeks, first of all, we had to figure out who was going to be the fifth member of each group. We finally got the answer of who was going to be the fifth member, but then these members brought interesting dynamics and we were trying to figure out how exactly was this going to play out. And then the wise man, Paul Heyman, show up. And of course, we got immediately suspicious by his presence, couldn't figure things out. And then we come to another conclusion with CM Punk joining Roman Reigns. And he made it clear to Roman, listen, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this to avenge my good friend Paul, and he owes me a favor. So when I need it, and I come calling, I'm coming to cash in. Now, what that promise is, I don't know yet, but we're going to try to discuss it today, and we're going to figure out what's the next move for Roman Reigns now that the OG Bloodline has defeated Solo Sikoa in his Fisher Price Walmart budget version of the Bloodline. And where do these superstars go from here? Now, if you didn't see Monday Night Raw, I'm going to spoil it for you because we got some suspicious activity going on. Sami Zayn and Jey Uso are, clearly back on Raw doing whatever the case may be. And then Jey Uso was attacked along with Sami Zayn by Drew McIntyre. Not sure what that's about, but we don't have time to get into that because that's another soap opera in its own right. We are here to talk about what's next for Roman Reigns, the OG Bloodline, as well as CM Punk and the wise man Paul Heyman. But first, good brothers, did you guys enjoy what you saw? Was this a satisfying conclusion? Was the inevitable for you? Did you enjoy the OG Bloodline versus the new Bloodline with Roman Reigns and his family coming out victorious? Talk to the people.
Well, after the first 10 minutes, just nothing. Yeah, I enjoyed the match.
Now,
But,
what do you mean 10 minutes of nothing? You talking about this match or the pay-per-view? Because the pay-per-view was
I'm talking about this match.
okay.
Jay
Well, go ahead and
Uso
speak
and
on it,
Tama Tonga stood in the ring for like 15 minutes and just stared
Stalling.
at each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. I'm like, bro, come on now. Like, let's get to the action. But I was left wanting more.
Okay, fair enough. Because
I
I get those vibes too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just expecting something else to happen. Like
Mhm.
last Survivor Series, I waited all the way to the end to past the credits, everything. Just because you know what happened last year with CM Punk coming.
Bingo.
So I'm like, man, I'm expecting something to happen. I was expecting either The Rock or Hikaleo or something to happen.
Something.
But
Anything.
it never happened.
Yeah.
And then as I processed that, I was like, well, now it seems like that seemed like a ending to a story or a chapter in the story, right? Because the way they finished that match,
yeah,
I have no idea. That's the thing.
See, that's I thought you would know. That's why I said that. I'm trying to figure it out myself. I figured I asked one of y'all so I can help a brother out, but you don't know either. Clearly, go ahead.
I don't. The only reason I don't know is because Solo still has the Ulafala.
He does.
You see what I'm saying? So now, if they would have had that finish and Roman took the Ulafala back, then it would have made sense to me. All right,
it's the finality to the whole situation.
Absolutely. But now we're still wondering what's next. And
okay. Well, let's let brother guy go ahead and give his twos because he said he wasn't feeling his main event as much. Let's see what he has to say. Then let's break down some of the subtle nuances of this particular match, and hopefully we can come to a conclusion based off some of the key moments that kind of happened, and then not necessarily like spotty moments or wrestling moments. There was these things that happened throughout this match that, to me, I think they were giving us clues, and I think that we're not paying attention to the right things because we were so used to something, and we were looking for that something, and they purposely didn't give it to us. I'm like, this seems so uncharacteristic, and I think they were giving us something else, but I don't think that we knew they were giving us something else. So let's see what the guy has to say.
So when War Games concluded, I felt like I was left like, all right. So what we doing now? Whereas though past War Games matches, it felt like a definitive end for that rivalry, or it's setting up the next set of rivals from this match. When I left War Games, I was like, all right, so Jay will be back on Raw. Jimmy will be back on SmackDown with his broke toe. Sammy's going to be holding on to this because he can't let it go. He's the little brother that wants to still be known that way. And we're going to be wondering the whole time, all right, CM Punk, tell us what this favor is. Roman, you still don't have your Ulafala. You still got family to deal with, but your whole crew is leaving you. But you got your wise man. So it was like, all right, I'm not more vested in it. I'm actually less vested now because this match kind of was just like, oh, it's there. All right, we're done. And all of those moments in between it, they were to further a story, but it didn't rope me in. Like, I'm not excited to watch SmackDown to see what Roman's going to say. I wasn't excited to see what CM Punk was going to say on Monday. I really didn't care because me as a wrestler, I was like, he's not going to tell us what the favor is. We're not going to get the favor. We got to keep watching. And when that downtime before the Rumble, Saturday's main event is already shaping up to be something else. So we're going to sit here and not realize, oh, when's the favor coming? Oh, every time we see Roman or CM Punk, where's the favor? But it was kind of like, okay, so what did you call them? What did you call the 2.0 bloodline? What did you say they were?
The warm-up version.
He said Fisher Price, great value.
Fisher Price, yeah, great value.
Yeah.
The great value bloodline. I'm like, I'm not excited to see them either. And now at this point, I feel like it kind of took away something from me because it didn't leave me wanting more. And I just felt like it was just like, all right, so the story going out of this that the world is talking about, CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That's literally what it's about. It's all about just them two. But I didn't get more excited to, quote, Hollywood, to eat steak. It's still just sitting on my plate. I'm like, okay, it's there.
Dang.
Like,
you need some A1 sauce? I mean,
I mean,
you don't need sauce for a good steak.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
And you just put it should only let me shut up. But it's just there. It's like, okay, so we got Roman back, we got Paul Heyman back. All right, this was anticlimactic. That's what I felt like.
And you would be right, but I think that was done on purpose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're taking advantage of the fact that we're wrestling fans, and Triple H does this a lot. It's because you have to say to yourself creatively, how do we convince wrestling fans that's pretty much seen it all? How do we get them to calm down? Think about the psychology of professional wrestling, right? Why do we have calm down matches? What sense does that make? It's wrestling. Every match should be action packed, right? From match 1 to 5, it should be the same pace. Think about it, but it's not, right? Which means it's intentional. Every match doesn't have the same conclusion based off whatever the top storyline is. Why? Because it doesn't. These are things that are very intentional, and I don't necessarily agree with the fact that brothers, I didn't get what I wanted, so it's like, oh, this is anticlimax. I'm less vested. I'm more curious now than ever. And you brothers tell me if you pick up what I'm putting down, it's because you've shown us, Triple H and Brass, how you have been able to put on shows. Now, I say the same thing about this ending that I said the same thing about Cody Rhodes when he first won the championship, and there was this random hush. It's like, how do you have such a high? How do you have so much momentum and then you like intentionally slow it down? That tells me there's something cooking.
Definitely.
If you don't believe me, let's just look at the science of it all. Why did they invent slow cookers? Right? You have ovens, you have grills. They even invented a microwave to help you get your food faster. So what was the point of inventing a slow cooker? Now, logic tells you it makes no sense. Why wouldn't you want your food as fast as possible? It's because science and taste and preference says something completely different. They go, hey, guess what? There's a way you can prepare your food if you slow cook it. Yes, I can put my chicken in the oven on 900 and it'll be done in 10 minutes. But it's something about putting my chicken in the oven on 250 and letting it sit there for as long as possible. It's got a different taste to it. It's got a different texture, a different flavor to it. As wrestling fans, I'm getting the vibe that's exactly what the heck Triple H is doing to us. It's because he has proven he knows that we think we're so smart. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. They just, oh, it was up, now it's down. Triple H is like, that's exactly what I want you to think. Why are you trying to rock us to sleep, Triple H? Why are you trying to calm us down right before this? Because like I said, there's a gap between now and the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
We got there's other stories to tell, right? You still got Cody and Kevin Owens. You still got Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre's back all of a sudden. I'm like, bro, why are y'all distracting me? What are you trying to distract me from? It's because they know that
bingo.
They know how to tap into the emotions of a wrestling fan. And tapping into the emotion of a wrestling fan can cause us not to think clearly because we're pissed. We don't like stuff. And then none of us ever stop to say, you think maybe they did that on purpose? No, it's dumb. It should have been this way. I would have liked it better. They're like, yeah, I think they know that. That's why they did it. The $1 million question is, gentlemen, is what? It's because CM Punk and Roman Reigns have absolutely nothing to do with each other. There is no future between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. There's not one in the immediate future, at least. Mm-hmm. So why did they put CM Punk and Roman Reigns in that ring together the way that they did? Why did things play out the way that? Why did they have chemistry issues? Why did CM Punk do the right thing after Roman Reigns speared him? That's not CM Punk. CM Punk's not. That's not. Why was it important for CM Punk to hold his end of the bargain rather than repay Roman Reigns for hitting with that spear? Because we all know CM Punk, he would have got his hit back, regardless whether he meant it or not. See, this is what I'm trying to say. These are things that's uncharacteristic, and you're not going to convince me that, oh, that's just what happened. No. You guys have put on quite a spectacle.
Take a taste of this appetizer real quick.
But see, that's what, like, they're purposely saying, yo, I don't want you to get full off the appetizer. I don't care if you love onion rings and hot wings and French fries and stuff like that. I could fill up on that and be good. There's a reason why they say, no, this is the only thing we're going to give you right now, and that's all you have available. It's because
like
we
when they
want
were
to sit there and sizzle and anticipate this main course. And if once again, if you say, no, that's dumb, it should have been okay, cool. It worked already. It's been working for the last 3 to 4 years. So you think they're going to switch anything up now? So that's just my theory.
in comparison to what Brother Guy said. But let's look at some of the subtle nuances between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Throughout the entire match, they teased the idea, can these guys get along? Let's talk about their chemistry. What you're looking at right now between CM Punk and Roman Reigns is a masterclass in pro wrestling psychology 207, 453. Those are high level classes, like one-on-ones is entry level. We're talking 450 classes. These guys told a story with their faces, their mannerisms. This is the thing that AEW gets into an issue with. It's because this attention to detail is not there. This is right here. What you're looking at between CM Punk and Roman Reigns is the reason Hogan had a career for as long as he did. He realized, bro, I can make faces with and wiggle my fingers and flex my muscles, and that's going to keep me in this business a lot longer than me putting on a 5-star match. It's going to probably end my career after 15, 20 years. Just ask Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's constantly putting himself in danger. It's my favorite wrestler. Constantly putting his life in danger is because he wants to wrestle all the goddamn time. Hogan said, man, if I can just stay healthy, I can do it. Like, I don't need to do nothing else. He don't even care about his wrestling moves because guess what's going to happen? If you give enough time and Hogan can come out there and wave that finger, flex those muscles, somebody's going to pay to see him whether you want to or not. The majority is going to pay to see Hogan if he's healthy. If Hogan was healthy right now, you think he wouldn't pop it up and fans wouldn't go nuts for him? It doesn't matter because he realized a long time ago that wrestling psychology is beyond what the fans want in the ring. It's about everything outside of it. And look at these guys. You got CM Punk and Roman Reigns. They're in the cage together first and foremost. And then we had a very magical moment where this happened. Everybody went absolutely bonkers when Roman Reigns stopped CM Punk, and Sami Zayn went through. He wouldn't even look at CM Punk, and CM Punk is staring a death hole into the side of Roman Reigns' face. These things happen for a reason. That was a spot, good brothers. We didn't see it in the ring. We didn't have a return. We got these moments, but the question is why? Why did we get this happening? There's a reason for it. You're not going to convince me otherwise that it's not. And then you move forward to moments in the ring, right? How are they going to get along in this match? CM Punk, was at first Roman Reigns didn't really acknowledge him too much. He didn't pay him any mind. But even after he speared Roman speared CM Punk, we have this moment where CM Punk actually saved him from a flying dinosaur in Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed broke his ankles, from what I hear. I don't know if it's true or not. But here we are. Why does this happen? All which led us back to this moment right here, where the Bloodline victorious, but there's no finality to the conversation. Why is there no finality to this? What is it that they are distracting us from? Let me give you guys some numbers. There were some social media numbers that came out. Once again, this is what I'm talking about. Segments. We're not talking about the match. You feel me? We're not talking about a game. We're not talking about the match. We're talking about segments, not the match.
We're not talking about a rating. We're not talking about the star rating. We're not talking about.
Yeah, I said. You're talking about practice. We're not talking about a game. We're talking about practice. We're talking about segments. We're not talking about a match. We're talking about segments. Roman Reigns stopped CM Punk. That night got 68 million views. I believe it's their YouTube channel. So that would eventually climb to like 84.5 within like hours of after it happened. That's a moment, right? This right here, bam. This is the moment. 84.5 million views. When CM Punk entered the match ahead of Roman Reigns, he pushed back on 24 million views in that moment. When CM Punk saves Roman, this clip was replayed 15 million plus views for the moment where CM Punk saved Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns thanks CM Punk. I don't have the clip of it at the end, but we'll just use this one. CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I said it on the post show. I said that moment stood in time. 2 million plus views. And we talking about within minutes of these things happening. So let's.
You forgot one. You forgot one.
Which
you
one?
Forgot one. Remember, the whole thing started with when he came back. That clip, and then that was viewed 1.5 million times of just Roman Reigns looking at CM Punk and Paul Heyman in the background. The shot that you had last week.
Absolutely.
1.5. What wasn't like 1 million views in like the first. It was something crazy that it broke records. It was just for that moment. So it's focusing on it because you have the controversial guy, and you got the guy that had WWE on his back for 4 years.
Yep.
What is going to happen next? And that's why I said the match to me, it was like, okay, it kind of laid flat because, yeah, this is uncharacteristic of Punk. You said this is happy CM Punk. I felt like I'm doing this because I have an ulterior motive. I'm going to show y'all I got an ulterior motive, but I'm going to do everything possible. But at the same token, look what they're doing. They're telling this story. And I keep saying Netflix. It's going to come back to Netflix. I'm telling you, it's going to be something with Netflix because it's the reason Roman Reigns is being advertised for Netflix.
I mean, of course, he has to be there. But the $1 million question is why?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it, good brothers. Where are we going with this? The match looked the way it did for a reason. I enjoyed the match. I had fun. I don't care, but I'm old. If I have fun with the match, it is what it is. I'm excited to see where it goes because I know it's going somewhere. See, back in the day, he didn't like Stone Cold beats Kevin Owens, and the next week Kevin Owens was in a storyline with some guy named Ezekiel. You know what I'm saying? Like you give me all that and then doesn't go anywhere. So the beauty is, no matter what it looks like, I know it's going to go somewhere, right? And we were all watching the show, and like us and the kids, and we were just looking at their screen, like everybody just this brief pause was like, what's next? Waiting for a moment, and they didn't give it to us. I said, bro, that was on purpose. You're not going to convince me otherwise. So what is next for Roman Reigns? Where do we go from here? Where does Roman Reigns put his focus at? Does he decide to say, okay, I need to go back and get the WWE Undisputed Championship? Do I still need to handle this new bloodline? There was no stipulations in place. The bloodline 2.0 could still be running roughshod. Jay's gone back to Raw. Sammy, I don't know. Was Sammy on Raw or SmackDown originally? Was he on?
He was on
SmackDown?
Raw. He was on Raw.
Okay. Him and Jay went back to SmackDown. They're handling their business there. Big Jim broke his toe, but he's a SmackDown guy along with Roman Reigns, and the Wise Man is back. But we don't know how long he's back because CM Punk has made his intentions clear that he's going after a world championship, and he hasn't really declared who, but he's probably my favorite to win the Rumble this year. But he said he has quite a few paths to get there. You got the Rumble, you get the Elimination Chamber, we got all these things, and then we have an issue. Seth Rollins makes his stake in the claim. He's got issues with CM Punk. He's not letting it go. Drew McIntyre comes back. All these crazy things going on, and I'm like, okay, cool. How does Roman Reigns walk away scot-free without explaining to us, bro? What do you do next? What are we going to do? What is Roman's next objective, Brother Hugh? I'm forcing you to be on a hot seat. You have to tell the people. Wait for Brother Hugh to tell the world what Roman Reigns is going to do next, and then when they ask Brother Hugh, when it happens, they're going to figure out, okay, cool. Brother Hugh told us a few weeks ago this was going down. So you're in the hot seat. You got the booking pad. Where do we go from here? What's next for Roman Reigns? Spill the beans.
Realistically, I think they're going to do a lot of storytelling as far as letting us know what the relationship is between CM Punk and Paul Heyman.
Oh, that's a good one.
Plus, where does Roman and Paul Heyman stand? This is that milking period, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you said earlier. This is that period where it kind of slows down and it's going to rev back up around Royal Rumble.
Bingo.
Right?
Yep.
So they're going to let Roman, his focus, from what I understand, or what I think, his focus is always going to be family business first.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Undisputed Championship. Once again, we're still waiting on the final boss. Don't know what's going on with that. But somehow all of this stuff is going to intertwine. But right now, I would say he's still going to beef with the bloodline. But the major thing for him is just figuring out where he stands with Paul Heyman and what's going on and what this favor is. Because clearly he probably heard CM Punk say something about a favor, right?
To your point, Brother Hugh, I got to point it out. I'm not dumb. Exactly. Another moment.
Exactly.
Paul Heyman hugs CM Punk. The camera got really, really close. So you heard what they said.
Yep.
He said, Paul, when I need it and I come calling, I need you to answer that phone. And he said, anything you want, anytime, you got it. I was like, wait a minute. There we go again. Like, Triple H just dropped. They're telling us what's going on without telling us it. But we so wrapped up in what we wrapped up and we're not paying attention. That was for a reason. I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
There's also a reason that in that interview, last week, 2 weeks ago, last week, he said, look, Paul has been moving kind of shady. You know what I'm saying? He feels kind of shady about Paul, right?
True.
That was said for a reason.
Yeah.
That's why that clip was cut off and put into the social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is his time to sit back. He's going to chill for a while. No in-ring action, honestly. He's just going to try to figure things out with his wise man.
Okay.
And they're going to tell a story just with that.
Got it.
Until we get to Rumble, he might be in a Rumble. Who knows? We don't know what's going on because we're still waiting on Final Boss. We still don't know what's going on with we know what's going on with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. But I feel like also somehow, some way, that feud or that storyline with CM Punk is going to intertwine with the Seth Rollins storyline that he has, but it's also going to come back to the Cody Rhodes and the Final Boss.
Oh boy.
Because you know, every superstar out here now is in multiple storylines. It's not like back in the day. It's just, oh, yeah, you just in this one storyline. You have this one feud,
right?
And that's it. So that's where I'm coming with it.
Okay, so you're saying the next chapter of As the Bloodline Turns is the story between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. We got to figure out the dynamic between these two, where they're going, where they're headed, and what did Paul Heyman actually promise CM Punk? What is the favor that CM Punk is? Like a brother guy said, he has an ulterior motive. He did that stuff where he had to make good whatever he's trying to do. It was more important than him getting his head back, and that's uncharacteristic of CM Punk. He said, "No, I got to make sure this match goes the way it's supposed to go for Paul. It's because I need him for something." Now, what that is, I don't know. But you think the dynamic between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman is the next story that's going to be told?
That's it.
Okay, I like that idea. There was something strange about it. You might be right, brother Hugh. Because we talk about the face-off once again. The cameras got close for a reason when we heard the conversation between Roman and Punk. And the first thing, like I said last week, he looked at Punk, and the first thing he said to him was, "He's my wise man." And the first thing CM Punk said back to him was, "We'll see." And I'm like, okay, there we go. Interesting. Okay, see, I knew it, brother Hugh. Let's see what brother Guy says. Brother Guy.
And real quick, remember, Paul Heyman walked out with CM Punk when he first came back.
It's true.
Roman was the last guy to come back through the curtain, through Gorilla.
It's true. Yeah. He asked the wise man, what is this favor that he's talking about? And he said, "We have plenty of time to talk about these things. Let's just get through War Games." You know, Paul Heyman, when he saw CM Punk and Roman Reigns about to get into it, like I said, his voice is the first thing you heard. And he was the one that kind of kicked off the match of the main event War Games. I'm putting it together, brother Hugh, in my head.
Yep.
So that's a good theory. I like it. I like where you're going with this, man. Let's see what brother Guy is. Brother Guy, what's next for Roman Reigns? You heard what brother Hugh had to say. He talked about the dynamic between Roman Reigns and his wise man, and there's something fishy that's there, and there's some investigating that Roman Reigns has to figure out before he goes forward, especially with CM Punk being involved. So, what do you say about the situation? What's next for Roman Reigns now that he's won his match, but there's no finality to it? He has not retreated Ulafala. He even approached Solo Sikoa and he said, "Acknowledge me." He said, he looked around and said, "I'm the tribal chief," and then he attacked him. So he had a chance to end the war. The whole point of him having this moment, he said, "I told my father I can fix this," was to end the civil war. Solo made his stand. He decided, nope. He said, "Acknowledge me." He said, "No, I'm the tribal chief," and he got jumped. It was over. All she wrote. Everybody got their finisher on him. He's done. Where does Roman Reigns go from here? What's next for Roman?
So I agree with Hugh, but with one wrinkle. Y'all missed out when CM Punk said, "He's our wise man." Remember when he made that very clear when he left the interview. He said, "He's our wise man." CM Punk on Monday pointed to, the WrestleMania sign. We know where it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk can't get there without Paul Heyman. I think that because Roman Reigns is advertised for Netflix, that's where CM Punk will be. And that's where this bulk of this next chapter is going to be about Paul Heyman's loyalty to Roman and the Bloodline, or CM Punk and his best in the world. And I'm just saying that because Roman he's going to need soldiers. He doesn't have a tribe. When he goes back to SmackDown, it's going to be the same thing. He can't be back there. So Roman got to do some recruitment. And he needs the wise man because remember, they dropped them nuggets about it's the reason we knew that the Tongas existed. We knew that Jacob Fatu existed. We didn't call them for a reason. So Paul Heyman knows the bloodline. That family tree was up there for a reason. Everything has been there. Roman's got to get a tribe, or at least soldiers or warriors. He's got to get somebody, because when he goes back to SmackDown, Solo's still going to be staking claim, because as long as he got the Ula Fowler, he needs backup to be able to get that back. But once he does, I think that's when you're going to see everybody fall back in line, and it be just one bloodline. Because right now, let's call it what it is. He might have Sammy Uso. He ain't going to have Jay, because Jay going to be trying to get his lick back for that storyline. But I think it's some other people in this roster that's going to get mixed into this bloodline to help Roman. And Roman's still got to do, because it's the reason they keep saying, did he apologize to you? Did he do this? What made you join him when Seth cut that promo?
Mhm.
You don't think Roman going to let that slide? Or is he going to come to try to atone for it? Because what did he say? What did Sammy say to him? You created this when you hit him in the back with the chair.
Sure did. That was a wonderful exchange they had.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking that Paul Heyman can recruit troops, as we can see in CM Punk. But is Roman going to want to work with them? That's going to be the thing. So I think it's because he's going to be our wise man. That's going to be the next dynamic that, my tribal chief, I have to go with CM Punk. What are you doing? What do you mean? Why are you going to the ring with him? You know what I mean? Like, you're my wise man.
Right.
Oh, come on, my tribal chief. You know I have to. It's going to be that type of dynamic, and it's going to be a sharing of the wise man while they're trying to rebuild Roman and his tribe, so he can be the chief.
Another interesting dynamic. My question is, will Roman Reigns and CM Punk need Paul Heyman at the same time?
Yes.
It's going to happen.
Yes, it's going.
Okay.
You know why?
Why is that?
He's gonna be on Raw, and I'm just giving you a scenario, right?
Mhm.
CM Punk is about to go to the ring, right?
Right.
And you know how they do that thing. He's in the ring, but here come what's his name? The Raw general manager.
Adam Pearce.
Pierce.
My dog. Scrap
Want to
iron.
talk to Roman, or he's saying something to Roman, and he's like, "My wise man didn't inform you." Looks like you don't have a wise man, because he's going to be ringside, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, because remember, Paul Heyman is a strategist. Have you had a chance to talk to Pierce? Why haven't you talked to Pierce? My tribal chief, I was with CM Punk. It's going to be a thing where it's going to become a conflict, because he can't be in two places at one time. And I think we're going to see the two phones come back. One that says best in the world, the other one that says tribal chief. I think that we're going to get those type of layers to tell these stories.
This was an interesting dynamic. And to your point, brother guy, which is excellent points. One thing I've noticed about Roman in the midst of all this drama is that he's very vulnerable when he doesn't have his wise counsel. He doesn't always make the best decisions. He doesn't always, see things the correct way. So I'm like, oh, this might be one of those situations. And I'm like, all right, well, we may get a dynamic where CM Punk and Roman Reigns probably need Paul Heyman at the same time, but Paul Heyman has a promise to keep, and he might go into WrestleMania, by the side of CM Punk rather than Roman Reigns. And CM Punk at that point is probably going to stick it to Roman, because it's like, look, I did my part. Now you gotta. I honored our agreement, even when you speared me through that dang on when you hit me with the spear. But oh boy, this is man. I think we've done it again. Another episode of As the Bloodline Turns. What's next for Roman Reigns? The conflict between him and Paul Heyman, as well as that deal that he agreed to adhere to because of the help that CM Punk gave him in defeating the Bloodline at Survivor Series War Games. Goodness gracious, I'm overwhelmed again. It's okay.
Random question. With Jey Uso coming out last, does that mean something, or was it just because he was he was going to start the match?
That's going to be a wrinkle on Raw that he's going to say, "I gave you the spotlight. See, I'm showing you, Jay. This is where you were the main event. We said we were equals. I need you. You can help me take." That's going to be part of that story.
This is the second time. It's the second straight PLE.
I don't know this. I don't, because here's the problem now. Jey Uso's got bigger problems on his hands.
Yeah, whoever smacked him. Yeah.
Who beat him up? I'm almost convinced it was Drew McIntyre, but I'll be swerved if you get on Monday and he's like, you can say what you want, it wasn't me. Because nobody knows except Jey Uso, right? And maybe Adam Pearce, but they won't. They asked him who did it. Remember, same as they asked Pearce who did it. And Adam Pearce just act like he didn't want to say anything. And then later that night, we saw Drew McIntyre. So I'm going to assume it's Drew McIntyre, but
it could be somebody. It could have been Seth.
Seth was pretty convincing though, but you know, Seth is also a little weasel at times too.
He is, but he told him like, you know what, Jay, you're right. That's fair. He understands their family dynamic, so he has no beef with Jay.
Right?
He's like, look, yeah, Jay, that's family. I'm not going to touch that. And how? What does it benefit Seth Rollins to beat up Jey Uso when he admitted already that he created that monster Roman Reigns anyway? When the only person he really has legitimate beef with is CM Punk. CM Punk's like, bro, I'm not worried about you. He hates his guts. So, you know what I mean? I can't think of a situation where that would make sense, where it's say, okay, cool, now we're going to go CM Punk, Jey Uso. Like, well, what is CM Punk after he's already made his intentions clear? And look, I'm here for the title. I'm old. I don't got a lot of good matches left in me. Right? I need all hands on deck, which is why I need this wise man. I don't think he would just pick a fight with Jey Uso just for the sake of it. After you just team with him, they just won. Especially if there's a promise involved that CM Punk is going to benefit from, especially based off his ulterior motives. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not so sold on that, but I think that Jey Uso being taken out takes him out of this storyline. He's back to wearing his colors.
He had on that pink shirt instantly. Yeah, he had on pink.
This bloodline team up was a temporary situation. Sami Zayn's affiliation with Jey Uso and them was always going to be there, but this was a temporary situation. The problem is, I don't think the Bloodline 2.0 was a temporary situation. It gave us a little bit of teasers with the Usos and the Gorillas of Destiny in the ring together. And I'm like, man, what's going on here? And it doesn't seem like it's finished. And I don't know what the heck Roman's going to do with Big Jim's going to be out. Wise Man's going to be there, but where does he go from there? I just don't know. But the dynamics that you guys are bringing up between the Wise Man and Roman Reigns, I think that's going to play out pretty interesting, and we'll see where it goes as far as Netflix and how that dynamic walks us into 2025, as well as making our way towards the Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and eventually WrestleMania.
So last question, real quick, and you want to answer it now, Hugh or Realness. Do you think we see non-bloodline members like Sami Zayn in 2025?
What do you mean see him in 2025? What do you mean see him in 2025?
So, like, when I say that, Roman has got to get some troops, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
Sammy isn't necessarily related, but he became a bloodline member, right? Do we see them in 2025? Other people joining that aren't technically blood?
I don't think so. That's an easy one because Roman Reigns still has a reputation. Like people still don't trust Roman. Like they haven't forgot. Everybody that helped, think about it. Everybody that helped Roman had ulterior motives in this whole situation. They didn't want to be a part of it. Jey Uso made it clear, bro, I'm not here because I want to do this. I'm here to do this because this is the right thing to do. You family. He made it like, you feel me? Jimmy, Big Jim. He told Roman the same thing. He's the only one that has really forgiven Roman. If you want to keep it 100, he's like, look, man, you always be my tribal chief, but I'm the only one that still acknowledge you. Like don't get it twisted. Like I'm good. I got your back. That's why Roman was kind of like, dang. Jey Uso made it very clear. Look here, Uso. I ain't with none of that stuff. Don't disrespect me. We all equals. I'm here because of my brother. That's my twin. You my cousin. We grew up together. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's family. And I approached little bro, and he disrespected me. So now he need a lesson being taught. It wasn't because he like, Roman, you my dog. I got you. I love you. We cool again. Nah, I got issue with Solo, and my brother asked for me to help, and this is the right thing for me to do. CM Punk's like, bro, I don't like you, Roman Reigns. You still in my spotlight, but I'm here to avenge Paul Heyman. I don't like what they did to Paul Heyman. And also, not only on top of that, I want something to walk away with. I want a favor. When I cash in, I'm all in. No questions asked. You got to agree with it. That's just what it's going to be. So once again, another ulterior motive. Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is not there because of Roman. He's like, I'm there because of Jey Uso. The Usos, we was cool. Big Jim, you had my back. I had yours. You brought me into the fold. I know how dangerous Roman is. I know how dangerous Solo is. This ain't it. He even said, I didn't want CM Punk in the group with us. He said, I wanted you, Seth Rollins. I didn't want to team with him either. He don't like CM Punk, but everybody put their stuff aside for business purposes. It wasn't because of Roman. Only person that really had Roman's back because of Roman was probably Big Jim. But everybody else had their own reasons as to why they want to take this down. Even Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman told him, listen, I know you don't like CM Punk, bro, but if you don't get him, it's nobody else that's going to help us out. We going to go down. So, like, even when they had a little face-off and it was about to get ugly, who came running down the aisle? Paul Heyman. Bro, please don't fight. Don't do this. We got to beat these dudes and we can figure everything else later.
Yep, makes sense.
So I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, yo, something's up. Something is up. And like I said, nobody acknowledged Roman for the sake of it was Roman. Everybody remembers, like, yo, nah, this dude was a terror. And Seth Rollins told Sami Zayn, why would you sit there and take up arms with this dude and help him get back in the position that we knocked him off of? And it's like, okay, cool. Now you're choosing between the lesser of two evils. So do we deal with Solo, or do we really? As soon as we put Roman back on his throne, he's gonna go right back to the way he was before. That's what everybody's convinced of.
Right.
Cody, Seth Rollins, all them dudes. But they also think that Solo is a bigger threat than Roman Reigns ever could be. That's why they're trying to prevent it from even happening with him. They saw what happened with Roman, and once he got there, it was hard to bring him back down. They're not doing that with Solo. That's why everybody's like, nah. That's why Cody Rhodes said, I don't like you, Roman, either, but we got to take them out. Same thing with CM Punk. Paul Heyman, yo, we have to take them out. I know you think you better than Solo, but bro, if we don't destroy this now before they get started, we having a problem on our hands. So that's my answer. I don't think we've seen any other. Nobody likes Roman. Roman is a chief without a tribe. He lucky he had his relatives, and he lucky he had CM Punk, and he still owed money on that one.
That's how I said he got to recruit some troops. I'm just interested to see how he's going to do it, because if he go back to SmackDown, it's going to be him versus them.
Yeah.
And we see how that ended when he was by himself.
This is scary. I don't know how this is going to end, but once again, another chapter of our favorite wrestling drama, the soap opera of As the Bloodline Turns, starring Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. We will pick this up next week, most likely with another episode, but hopefully we can move into some other things that we got going on in professional wrestling and probably give us a rest. But if this picks up, what can I say? We will be back with another episode of As the Bloodline Turns. We are headed out the door. We thank everybody for tuning in this week, hanging out with us. Brian should be back next week, and we'll be back at full force. Enjoy your wrestling. Enjoy your life. Enjoy everything you got going on, because you know what? This stuff is absolutely fun. As wrestling fans, we get a kick out of this. And if you're not as enthused about this, or you don't have the information, you're lucky, because we are here to educate you. We are here to bring these conversations to the forefront and help other people have fun and be engaged in the conversation as well. Join us next week. Follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Follow us Championship Culture on Instagram at Championship Culture _. Don't forget, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm, you can find Championship Culture. If you missed seasons 1, 2, and need to catch up on season 3, go back and catch up on all that stuff. Enjoy it. There's so much more to come. Buckle your seatbelts, because there's a lot coming in 2025. We are moving, we are growing, we are evolving, and that's all I'm going to be allowed to say. But I am looking forward to this road to WrestleMania, because it is going to mark a monumental shift in the world of the wrestling realm, and you will know exactly what I'm referring to when the time is right. But until then, stay saucy, my friends. We will see you next week. We are out of here. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.